Hey brains, welcome back to another video. Now this is one that my friend has been asking for quite a while to explain to her. So today we are going to be talking all about RSD or Rejection Sensitive Dysphoria. That's right. We are going to be covering how it affects adults, how it presents, how it looks, how it feels like, and some ways to help cope with it. This is also part 2 of the series. Part 1 was the top 8 signs of RSD. And if you haven't watched it yet, do check it out because it will really help you understand what RSD is all about. I am Jag, welcome. Please subscribe if you are new here. As late diagnosed autistic and ADHD, I'm still figuring things out one day at a time. So the first thing I am going to be covering is how it affects adults. Now just because you had RSD as a child doesn't mean you don't have it as an adult. In fact, it's quite common for those with RSD to still experience RSD symptoms in adulthood. The reason why it can be more challenging to deal with in adulthood is due to the increased social demands placed upon us. As adults, we're expected to function independently and be able to handle more social situations than when we were children. For example, we're expected to start applying to colleges if we're teenagers, start thinking about our career paths, and decide on them. And we're expected to succeed in our careers and sometimes even find employment in a very competitive market. On top of that, there's also the added pressure of maintaining relationships and making sure they last and flourish. So not only are we facing many social situations on a daily basis, but the stakes are higher as well. The fear of being rejected can cause a lot of anxiety and distress, especially when it comes to dating and romantic relationships. Do you feel it affects your romantic relationships? For me it does, but so do any other relationships with family and friends. Well, it can cause you to either be hypervigilant, meaning you're always looking out for signs of rejection, or it can cause you to expect rejection. Both of these outcomes are terrible because when you're hypervigilant, you're constantly on edge and you're always feeling anxious. And if you expect rejection, then you may act in a way that invites that behavior from your partner, that's for sure. For example, if you expect that your partner is going to leave you, then you might do things to push them away, or you might not even let them in the first place. Tell me how it presents for you or what it looks like and how it feels in the comment below. RSD can manifest in many different ways depending on the individual and their situation. Some common ways that it can present itself include heightened emotional reactions, such as intense anger or sadness when you feel rejected or criticized. Intense emotional reactions can manifest in many different ways. You might cry uncontrollably, you might lash out at others, you might withdraw socially, or you might become physically sick. Physical symptoms are very common with RSD. Another way that RSD can manifest is through avoidance of social situations. As mentioned earlier in video 1, the fear of rejection can be so overwhelming that you might avoid social situations entirely. This could lead to feelings of isolation and loneliness, which can exacerbate the symptoms of RSD. People with RSD tend to have low self-esteem and engage in negative self-talk. For example, I'm not good enough or worthy enough. And thoughts like everyone is rejecting me, so I must be the problem. If only I didn't say that stupid thing. These thoughts can lead to a downward spiral and can make it difficult to break the cycle of RSD. Also, another way RSD can present itself is through clingy or needy behaviors towards others. You might become overly attached to people in an effort to avoid abandonment or rejection. This could lead to jealousy and possessiveness, which can put a strain on relationships and lead to further rejection, which can make symptoms of RSD worse. RSD is not a formal diagnosis, but rather a term used to describe a pattern of behavior that has been observed in many individuals who struggle with rejection. For that reason, there is no official criteria to diagnose someone with RSD, but rather a set of guidelines and observations that can help you determine whether or not you might have it. The following signs and symptoms might indicate that you're dealing with RSD. Number 1, experiencing intense emotional reactions to rejection. If you find yourself becoming overwhelmed with emotions when you face rejection, then it's possible that you're dealing with RSD. This could look like crying, lashing out, or withdrawing socially. Number 2, another sign of RSD is avoiding social situations altogether. If the thought of being rejected in a social situation causes you to feel too anxious, then it's possible that RSD is playing a role. Number 3, people with RSD tend to have low self-esteem and engage in negative self-talk. This can create a vicious cycle where you're constantly rejecting yourself, which leads to more rejection from others, which leads to more negative self-talk and so on. See the pattern here? Ableism doesn't help either. I have a video about that coming out soon, so come back to check that out. If you find yourself constantly putting yourself down and expecting the worst, then it's possible that RSD is contributing to these thoughts and feelings. Number 4, another sign of RSD is engaging in clingy or needy behaviors towards others. If you find yourself becoming overly attached to people in an effort to avoid rejection, then it's possible that RSD is contributing to these behaviors. This could look like extreme jealousy or possessiveness, which can put a strain on relationships and lead to further rejection. How can we cope with RSD? First, be more aware of your feelings and thoughts. Pay attention to your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors in social situations and identify the triggers that cause your RSD symptoms to come up. Once you've identified them, you can start to develop strategies for coping with them. Second, when you notice negative thoughts or self-talk creeping in, challenge if it's true. A lot of times your perceived rejection isn't a rejection at all. It's just your fears and wrong perspective. Try looking at it a different way. Ask questions if necessary. Are these thoughts really true, or is it just your RSD getting the best of you? What do you think? What strategies do you use? Let me know in the comments, it might help someone else. By learning to challenge your negative thoughts, you can start to change your thought patterns and reduce your RSD symptoms. I try to give it some time to process my thoughts without letting my imagination take the best of me. Other time will show me if that person is or is not a good person to me or if I am overreacting. As autistic, literal thinkers with a high sense of justice, we tend to treat and trust people as if they are the same as us. We have been taken advantage of and mistreated many times. So I know how hard and confusing it is to distinguish the difference between a bad thought and bad people. Third, it's important to set realistic expectations for yourself in social situations. Don't expect perfection from yourself or others. The autistic side of me tends to be very strict with perfection. And remember that everyone makes mistakes. By setting realistic expectations, you can reduce the likelihood of experiencing rejection and reduce your RSD symptoms. Another good way is to gradually expose yourself to social situations that cause you anxiety. Start by putting yourself in situations where you feel comfortable and work your way up from there. By gradually exposing yourself to social situations, you can learn to manage your anxiety and reduce your RSD symptoms. But also, create a support system. A group of friends, family, or mental health professionals who can help you cope with RSD. Having someone you trust. That you can express your doubts and ask questions to verify if your feelings are valid. By the way, sometimes they are. So it's always good to have support for it. It can provide you with both emotional support when you are spiraling and you need to go through the wave of emotions until it passes, but also guidance for you to detect, explore, and analyze your feelings to help you overcome, or at least alleviate RSD. Another good way to break the cycle of RSD is to learn to communicate assertively. To me, that's the hardest one, as I learned to people please early on as a child. Between mistreatment or constant criticism for being different, I people pleased a lot to fit in, or have any type of relationship. Even over my own needs. I sacrificed my own needs a lot. I have a video about that too, check it out. It's a 4-video series about struggling with friendship. Check it out. Lastly, try practicing self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Everyone experiences rejection and failure at some point in their lives. When you practice self-compassion and treat yourself with kindness, you might reduce the negative impact of rejection and reduce your RSD symptoms. This means expressing your needs and wants in a clear and respectful way. Another hard one, I am quite blunt. It also means setting boundaries and enforcing them when necessary. Learning to communicate assertively can help you avoid the fear of rejection that often accompanies RSD. Additionally, learning to manage your emotions is also key to breaking the cycle of RSD. When you feel rejected or criticized, take a deep breath and try to calm down before responding. This will help you avoid saying or doing something that you'll later regret. I know RSD can be challenging for both children and adults, but with the right support and treatment, it is possible to manage and maybe even overcome RSD. Patience is the key word here, with yourself and with others. Celebrate your progress along the way. Give you grace when you fall. Thanks for listening to me rant. I hope that it was helpful and informative. If you have any thoughts, comments, or suggestions, please don't hesitate to leave them down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Your support means the world to me. Please don't feed the trolls. All they want is attention. Not the right kind. So go on ignoring them. YouTube think you will enjoy this next one. So try it out. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.